Hi everyone, welcome to the 5th video of our CloudTalk onboarding series. In this video, I'm going to talk you through setting up your call flow and business hours using CloudTalk. We'll start with the most basic steps associated with each process. The call flow is essentially the combination of steps that the caller is led through when calling your business. This call path can be customized with a variety of sounds or options to call individual agents or groups, for example, customer support. Call flows often include interactive voice response systems, or IVRs, which use a series of automated voice prompts to help ensure customers are routed to the most suitable agent. For example, press 1 for support, press 2 for order status, press 3, etc., etc. CloudTalk's user-friendly call flow designer drastically simplifies the processes of setting up an inbound call flow, making it accessible to your average call center manager or agent. But how exactly does it work? Let's go through some specific steps. First, you'll want to navigate to the Numbers tab on the left-hand side of your CloudTalk dashboard. Once that's open, you want to select the number for which you'd like to create an inbound call flow. Once you've selected your number, you'll see the call flow appear on screen in the form of a flowchart. Clicking on the gear icon within each step will pull up an editing menu on the right-hand side of your screen. From here, you'll be able to adjust the internal name of the number, whether or not agents will have permission to pause call recordings, whether or not agents will be required to apply call tags at the conclusion of inbound calls, and set specific business hours for a particular number. We'll show you how to set up business hours later on in the video. Clicking on the blue plus symbol will open an action menu on the right-hand side of your screen. From there, you'll be able to choose from a wide range of action items, including call to agent, call to group, and voicemail. Let's take a closer look at some of the actions available to you when you're setting up your call flow. Call to agent and call to favorite agent both direct callers to a specific agent that you'll be able to select on this screen. The favorite agent can be added when creating a new contact or when editing an existing contact. Call to group directs callers to a particular department, be it sales, product, customer success, what have you. Playback presents callers with any type of custom pre-recorded playback message. This could be a message related to hours of operation, for example. You know, sorry we're closed, sorry we're on holiday, that kind of thing. You can either pre-record your audio and upload it during this step, or you can record audio as a part of the playback process. The voicemail action queues up the most famous soundbite in telecommunications. You can use the playback action in combination with the voicemail action. Playback to record the perfect soundbite, inviting callers to leave a message, and voicemail to seamlessly record their message for later listening. Now let's talk about some of the more detailed modifications you can make to your call flows. First, there's IVR, or interactive voice response. This system will be familiar to many as it's responsible for the please press 1 for X, please press 2 for Y message format. Clicking on the IVR square in the action menu will give you the opportunity to create different branches, meaning the options callers are given to choose from, assign pre-recorded sounds to different stages of your IVR flow, and create a failover option. The failover option is a neat feature that addresses those instances in which a caller is, for whatever reason, unable to make an IVR selection within an appropriate time frame. If you don't want to use the failover option, no worries. The system will automatically replay the IVR options to your callers. Now there's the time router feature. This is useful for when you'd like a given number to be available to inbound callers only during a specific window of time. Clicking this square will allow you to create branches, set up time windows for each individual step in your call flow, and determine your failover option. The last thing you ought to know about CloudTalk's call flow setup processes is that it can be easily duplicated for convenience. All you need to do is copy your call flow chart and paste it into another Numbers setup window. Shifting gears now, let's talk about how you can set up business hours via the CloudTalk dashboard. Navigating to the business hours setup console is pretty straightforward. Simply click on the account tab on the left-hand side of the CloudTalk dashboard. Open up the settings menu on the drop-down menu and select business hours from the menu at the top of the screen. From there, you'll need to click change and toggle the business hours switch to on. Once you've done that, you'll be presented with a comprehensive business hours adjustment menu. From here, you'll be able to define your hours of operation for inbound calls and determine exactly what your customers will encounter should they attempt to contact you outside of your business hours. You can choose to have customers who contact you after hours hear a pre-recorded message explaining that your team is currently offline. You can invite them to leave a voicemail that your team will address as soon as they return to work, or you can redirect their call to an external number. Keep in mind that this must be an external number. It can't be some other number that's associated with the CloudTalk account for which you're setting up business hours. Crucially, you'll have to click the Add Rule button in order to define which days of the week are working days for your business and which hours you're in office on those days. Lastly, remember to click the Save button once you've finished defining all your parameters. Keep in mind that the setup process we've just covered defines business hours for your entire business. That is, every phone number associated with your CloudTalk account. If you'd like to set up specific business hours for a specific phone number, you can do so via the gear button attached to the very first step within the Call Flow Designer. This will override the company-wide setup of business hours for that specific number. And that'll just about do it for our video. Please don't hesitate to reach out to our customer support team should you have any lingering questions. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one where we cover setting up integrations with third-party apps. Thanks for watching.